Hey there, I'm Nicholas Dubois, co-founder of Advanced SimRacing. We are a Canadian company. So what we did here today is for a real petrol head. He's really passionate about cars, as you can see behind me. We did a turnkey solution for him based on his needs. We try to gather as much information as we can on our client. And like we did today, we install a D-box system. We install ultra-wide cube control steering wheel. We try to provide the best quality for your budget. So let's say if you want a budget of 10 grand, we're gonna give you something that's the best for 10 grand. If you want 20 grand, then we always try to stay within your boundaries. We do try to make it as easy as possible. So the client, once we install everything, it's pretty much gonna be a turnkey. So he's gonna press start on his computer, and right after, we'll try to explain everything, how it goes, how it works, and then he's ready to go. Our aluminum is from USA, treated in Canada, cut in Canada. So we do sand all our aluminum piece just to make sure the powder coat sticks to it. And that's one of the reasons why we use powder coat, is to make sure you have the best aluminum finish in the industry. And our quality is beyond what you can get with any other competitors right now. We are really, really passionate about all the gear, all the cockpits, all the sim hardware, and that's why we want to create something that's really going to reflect our passion into our product. Come visit us at advancedsimracing.com. You can always reach us if you have any questions. You can call us, you can text us, you can go on Facebook, like our page, ask us questions over there, and we'll make sure to answer every questions there is. We are very passionate about what we do, and we try to make it as easier for you to go into the sim racing world, because there's a lot of gear, there's a lot of options, but let us guide you through your process, and let's hope you'll be an Advanced Sim Racing customer.
Last week, Kevin Santana secured his 5th win out of 8 races, besting the field by nearly 5 seconds and all but securing his championship trophy. Ritters had another great drive, coming in 3rd behind Broomhead, who just didn't have enough for the championship leader. Who will attempt to rise and challenge Santana's reign tonight? We'll find out soon as we get ready to watch the penultimate round of the PRL Formula 3 Amateur Series, and you'll see it all live here on the Global Sim Racing channel. Hi, I'm Adam Lindgren, and with me in the booth is DJ Clark. Behind the scenes is our director Sean Ambrose, and he's using cameras provided by Dougie Beard. Imola has been infamous among racing drivers for decades, and to learn why, let's head down to our track guide.
Welcome to the Autodromo Internazionale Enzo e Dino Ferrari, but most race fans know this place as simply Imola. This circuit in the northern part of Italy has seen some of the highest highs and lowest lows in motorsports history. The various tragedies that have marred the track left no choice but to alter it in the name of safety. While it originally featured mostly fast, sweeping corners, its modern 3-mile or 5-kilometer version is punctuated by tricky chicanes and incredibly technical turns. iRacing includes the Grand Prix layout and a moto version, which adds one more chicane to the front stretch. Tamburello is perhaps the most notorious of the corners for claiming the life of multi-time world champion Ayrton Senna when it was still a single breathtaking turn. Now the Triple Apexer not only offers potential passing opportunities, but catches out drivers quite frequently. While heavy braking zones are everywhere, because few places allow the cars to get up to speed, overtaking is generally seen as an exercise in frustration. As if to almost counteract this quality, the track itself is situated in a gorgeous public park and sends the drivers through the beautifully calming Italian countryside. It also includes a fair bit of elevation change, in which the track is split between the higher up back half and the lower first portion. It's no wonder that this place still proves popular with drivers and fans in spite of its difficulties in history. The Tifosi keep returning each and every time the sound of engines roar among the trees, and who can blame them?
There you saw a couple of reasons why Imola is so well known, but DJ, how are these early Formula cars going to take around this track today?
Well, Adam, it is going to provide for a great race, although one that we do kind of come to expect around Imola, which is where passing is going to be at a premium. We are going to see a good little bit of draft going on down the start-finish straightaway, and maybe a little bit of an opportunity going down into Tamburello. But even as narrow as these cars are, that's really only a one-lane corner through there. Probably not going to see a whole lot of overtaking opportunity then until maybe we get to Tosa, that left-handed hairpin that brings your way up the hill, but that's going to have to be an aggressive move. The other two overtaking opportunities that we might see, well, we could see a little bit of a slide move going into Variante Alta at the top of the hill, and then certainly coming down the run into Ravazza 1 and 2. But both of those are going to have to be a lot of bravery by these drivers. The biggest thing for them is just keeping everything together. With the high downforce, they're going to be able to take these corners a little bit faster than some of the GT models we've seen around here, specifically carrying some more speeds through Agua Minerale and Piratella. But at the same time, the curbs on the inside of these corners are here to bite you. These suspensions in these cars are not really handled to be able to take on those high curbs, so drivers are going to have to be very careful.
Absolutely, and if you're feeling like you need to be a little bit too careful in your rig, don't worry, because our broadcast is brought to you by ASR, owned and operated by passionate sim racers. Advanced sim racing designs. They build and design the sturdiest and most durable aluminum profile racing simulation cockpits available in the market today. Visit them at advancedsimracing.com.
It's also sponsored by RaceLab. RaceLab helps you to improve your driving skills. With modern overlays, race statistics, and native VR integration, you can get the best out of iRacing. Start using it for free at racelab.app.
Today's broadcast is also proudly sponsored by ButtKicker. ButtKicker products add an incredible immersion and realism to any game. Feel every nuance and truly put yourself in the driver's seat. Check them out at thebuttkicker.com.
Today's event is also brought to you by SimMSA. Simulation Motorsports Affinity provides many consulting services, from completely customizing simulators to managing teams, individual drivers, and complete events. They're working hard to bring everyone together at one place to support and promote sim racing internationally. Find out how you can bridge the gap between virtual and real motorsports at SIMMSA.net.
And finally, the PRL Formula Series is brought to you by NinjaTrader. Ready to compete against the financial markets? Supporting over 60,000 users across the globe, NinjaTrader provides award-winning trading software and brokerage services. NinjaTrader is always free to use for advanced charting, backtesting, and trade simulation. Visit ninjatrader.com to get started with a risk-free trading simulator and start tracking your performance. One of the other things we're tracking is the championship. And for a moment, we thought it might have been possible for Kevin Santana to lose it, but by showing up tonight, Kevin Santana pretty much clinches his championship lead over Michael Broomhead, currently at 56 points. But only 4 points back of Broomhead is Dave Peterson, so he's definitely got a capability of passing Broomhead for that second position tonight. And tied for fourth position is Sebastian Coffre and Joseph Tebben. Both of these drivers only 16 points back of third position as well, so they've got a lot to play for right now. And then Sean Duhamel, not too far back, only 13 points back of that tied fourth position, so very tight in the drivers' points. But what are the teams looking like, DJ?
Well, Adam, up at the top, it's a lot closer of a battle than we saw in the team's championship, with Leading Edge Racing only 7 points ahead of Viking Hot Rod Racing, so a lot to play for there. Britannia iSports MRM, they're about 20 points back, so that's a decent gap that they were going to have to make up, but it's certainly doable. From there on out, it gets a little bit more spread out. God Sexy Power is 109 points back, with Ridgeway Racing sitting about 15 points back of them in fifth.
Absolutely. And so for those of you who are new to this series, we're going to take you through the race details. This is round 9 of 10, the penultimate round for these drivers. They're driving the Dallara F3 for 24 laps around Imola. They've got an open setup for these drivers, so they can set it up however they like or dislike, with a standing start and no spare vehicle. They got a drive-through at 13 incidents and a disqualification at 17. They also have 50% fuel, so that usually results in 1 pit stop. Bonus points for these drivers, for pole, fastest lap, and for 4 incidents or less. And now we've got the open qualifying going on, 10 minutes around this track, and we already have a couple of drivers who have times in, but that's just because they started behind the start-finish line before they're flying laps. We have not had a flying lap out there from any of our drivers quite yet.
No, just waiting to see everything get turned in here. And as we said earlier in the broadcast, Kevin Santana is here tonight. We thought for a second he wasn't going to show up, popped in right at the end of practice. So not a lot of practice there for your championship leader tonight, but we'll have to see if he's still able to do his thing.
Absolutely. It's possible he will be. Christopher Richards right now coming around the corner. As we see in the back half of the course, coming down to this really challenging final section. Very, very challenging to get these last couple of corners right in that 49 machine as he goes around the last couple of corners. Let's see what kind of a time he can put in here. I can't tell which car is behind him, but having a little bit of connection issues himself. So Christopher Richards now cutting that last corner and crossing the line is going to be setting a time of a 1:40.052. So he'll be the time to beat right now.
Yes, he will. Sebastian Coffret, though, coming up to the top, and Ritter's pipping him. So 1, 2, 3, those times falling in very quick order. I'm seeing Takeshi Kita popping into P5 right now. Here comes Sean Duhamel. Let's see if he's got anything. Looks like a bit of a slow lap there for the Viking Hot Rod Racer.
Absolutely. There's Kevin Santana coming around. He's just starting his first flying lap now. So he does set a time, but it's not representative. That 1:54 will not represent him. Broomhead, let's see what he can do as he's just starting his first flying lap as well. So right now, Steven Ritter's up to the top with that 1:38.667.
Ritter's holding that in. Donald Olson here coming to the line. I think this will be a slow lap for him. He is a member of that Viking Hot Rod Racing team, so he is going to be hoping to have a good result here to try to clinch in on that team's championship. So he and his teammate of Sean Duhamel will certainly be one to watch for, as well as Dave Peterson.
Absolutely. So qualifying almost halfway over now, closing in on 5 minutes to go. Joey Tebben goes to the top of the boards. Joseph Tebben with a 1:37.8, so almost a full second faster than Ritter's. So these times starting to creep down as they start to get these tires warmed up, DJ. Ooh, wow, that's off track there. For Joey, as he just likes to park it.
Yeah, I think he's going to just try to re-rack here as we tick down with under 5 minutes to go. Here comes Sebastian Coffret. Track temperature right now, 83 degrees, so I think it may take about a lap for these tires to get fully up to temperature. At least that's what Sebastian's hoping for there. You can see a good amount of wind and a lot of humidity in the air. Sebastian able to go faster there. That's going to put him up if it were to stick, but it looks like he picked up an off track.
Yeah, unfortunately not sticking for him. So here comes Robert Ridgway, who crosses the line, goes up to third position for Ridgway at the 1:38.4. Takeshi Kita is coming across the line, and unfortunately that lap did not count either. So quite a few drivers starting to run into incidents, and if they're picking up them in the qualifying session, I can only imagine how close it's going to be for those 14 incidents that get them a drive-through tonight.
Indeed, and remember earlier in the season, the organizers did raise that incident limit following a lot of drive-through penalties being issued across the Precision Racing League. But at a track like this at Imola, where it's specifically easy to pick up those off-tracks on corner exit coming out of Tamburello and coming out of Villeneuve, they're going to have to be very, very careful. Here comes Olsen again. This is going to be a better representative time for him. That's a 1:42.3, and that will stick for him. That will keep him in 17th.
Dave Peterson crosses the line, a 1:39.571. Also puts him up to 12th position, so interesting times that we're seeing there.
Here comes David Hebert to the line. You see him taking a little bit of a wide run going down that main straight, just trying to keep that car pointed in a straight line as long as possible. Hebert is going to find his way into 17th.
Oh,
pumping.
Santana's just gone around in Tamburello, or rather through Variante Alta, so Kevin Santana's still down in 20th position right now. Very interesting. So here's Coffret once again crossing the line. This one's a better time, puts him up to third position.
Well, he'll be happy with that, but there Robert Ridgway comes back up, putting the fastest time on the board with a 37.454. Here comes Kita. Kita eager to regain some good time. That'll get him into 7th. Just saw out of the periphery, I believe that was Santana coming back out, so he should have just enough time to be able to get a flyer in here.
Yeah, and Joey Tebben actually gave Ridgway quite a big draft down the front straightaway, which might have been what got him that qualifying time. Broomhead just now crossing the line. He is still down in the 5th position. So this pole position still has quite a bit to go. 2 minutes and 10 seconds left in the qualifying session, with the fastest drivers setting 1:37 flat fives. It's going to be very interesting to see who can get that last lap in.
Yeah, indeed. I wouldn't be surprised if we see a little bit of team tactics, maybe some guys talking to each other about trying to get that toe at just the right point and not slowing each other down. There, Dave Peterson bumps his way up to 8th place, so he'll be happy with that. Looks like the next driver to cross over the line is going to be David Bear, I believe, currently down in 21st.
So there we see David crossing the line. Can he improve on his 142.036? Yes, a 141.587. So David still stays down in the 21st position, but he is ahead of Kevin Santana, who hasn't been able to set a second clean lap yet.
Indeed, here comes Coffray to the line. Not going to be able to improve there. He'll get one more crack at the apple.
Oh, yes, he did improve. He goes up to pole.
Oh, there he goes, Adam. Surprising me on that. Coffray into the top spot.
Yeah, definitely the further on in this run they go, especially I think the fuel's wearing down, the tires are warming up for these drivers. Sean DeHamel crossing the line, improving his time. All the fast times happening now later on in the run. And Kevin Santana is still parked.
He went around again, coming out of the exit of Tosa. Just got a little bit of wheel spin and spun the car, so that means Kevin Santana is going to be starting in the back of the field.
Well, that'll definitely be interesting to watch. We had a similar thing in the PRL Truck Series last night with another one of the drivers starting from one of the top championship drivers starting from the back of the field and coming up to 5th position. So we'll have to see what Kevin Santana can get done tonight. Here's Donald Olson crossing the line, trying to improve from 141.189 and does so almost by a second. So Olson up to 20th ahead of David Hebert. And now we got drivers who are deciding to call it quits for the night. So David Hebert, once again, in 21st position. He will be the first to complete his final lap.
Yes, he will. He comes to the line here again, straightening out this curving front stretch here. Seeing what he's got, sitting with the 141. He is going to be able to improve with a 140.8. That's not going to bump him anywhere, though. Here comes Coffray trying to see if he can maybe better his current provisional best time. That's not going to be a good run for Sebastian.
What about Ritters? Does he improve? The answer is yes, but not enough. Ridgway crosses the line and goes to pole. Ridgway takes it on the final qualifying lap. But wait. Oh, wait. Joseph Tevin looks like he's actually out. So, unfortunately, I think this is going to be good for Ridgway, not good for Tevin, as Tevin did not complete his final lap.
Yeah, not able to get it. We've just got a couple of cars crossing over here to see. This is Daniel Barnett coming to the line. He's going to be able to improve by about 0.5 of a second, and that'll gain him a position up into 18th. Here's a stream of cars led by Matthew Gunderson.
Absolutely, Gunderson, and then Gore crossing the line. So let's see whether or not Gore can improve over Gunderson, and the answer is no. Up to 11th position for Gore with a 138.349, so that's definitely a good improvement for him. And then we're going to have Dave Peterson. We have 2 more cars left. Let's see. Dave Peterson will cross the line. I think he'll be the last one to set a time. Does he improve over a 138.341? Yes, just barely. Not going to improve his position, but does improve his time. He'll stay in 10th.
Yes, he will, as we watch here, Hebert working his way down the hill. And remember, Peterson locked in that battle for P2 with Mike Broomhead. That's Peterson starting in 10th, Broomhead in 7th. So Peterson's going to have some work cut out for him as we watch Hebert ducking into the pits. I think that's going to be our last driver out there. Absolutely.
Coffray going to cross the line once again, but I don't believe that this is a time that will count. Let's see what happens here. He's slower anyway, so it's not going to matter, but this will determine our qualifying position. So 20 seconds left in qualifying. Quite an interesting qualifying session, DJ. And as we head into the race, I think this standings shakeup is going to define a lot of how this race is going to go as far as track position is concerned. But let's get ready to give you the grid for this race. We've got Robert Ridgway on pole with Sebastian Coffray in 2nd position. Steven Ritters doing good this season, currently in 3rd position. with Joseph Tebben, who's going to line up in 4th. Row 3 is going to be Sean Duhamel with Nick Horvath in the 6th position. Michael Broomhead's going to line up 7th with Takesha Kita in 8th. And then rounding out your top 10 is Cadence Presley and Dave Peterson.
In 11th, it'll be Tyler Gordon. His outside, it's James Carter, followed by Manuel Vargas and Tyler Scarali. Row 8 will be Matthew Gunderson and James Holland, followed by Colin Heffernan and Daniel Barnett. And rounding out your top 20, it'll be Christopher Richards and Donald Olson.
And then the last 2 drivers are, last 3 drivers rather, are David Hebert, Kevin Santana, and then we have Aaron Law and David Blackwood, who did not set qualifying times. So, very, very interesting qualifying for sure. And now we get ready for the standing start. The drivers going to the grid to start this race. Always one of the most interesting parts of a race is this standing start, DJ.
For sure, and in this league, it'll always produce some interesting results. We've seen some problems arise before, waiting for these drivers to grid up, looking for that good clutch bite point. And the run down to Tamburello here, it's a fairly long run, and it always seems to be chaotic.
Absolutely. So as we wait, I don't believe it's going to go to the full 2 minutes because unfortunately Nick Horvath has dropped out of this race due to connection issues. So also David Hebert is not lining up either. So very interesting to see how this start will go. DJ's going to keep his eyes on Kevin Santana, but we're going to keep our eyes on the front of this field. Robert Ridgway will be the man to jump first, with Sebastian Coffrey, Steven Ritters, and Joey Tubman lining up behind him. Here we go. Green flag is out. Robert Ridgway with a decent jump, but Coffrey with a fantastic jump on the outside is going to beat him into the first turn. They've got Ritters and Tubman side by side behind him. Look at this, a late dive from Ridgway as he dives it into the corner. He's able to get that position away, move Coffrey to 2nd, Tubman to 3rd.
And it looks like behind them, everybody able to work their way through Tamburello relatively quickly. You can see there Coffrey still hot on the heels of Robert Ridgway. I can report that Kevin Santana's been able to jump up 2 positions, but it wasn't as good of a start as I think he would hope. Oh, we're side by side going into Tosa.
Absolutely. Tosa side by side usually doesn't work out well for the person on the outside, but Coffrey got a good run coming off the corner, so Ridgway is going to try and move over to the inside to cover off that line. Tebben breathing down Coffrey's neck for that 3rd position rather, and Coffrey trying to do it around the outside. He's not able to do it. He can't hang on to it. Goes out to the AstroFurf. Move Joey Tebben up into the 2nd position. Now it's Ritters and Coffrey who are side by side as they dive down into Aqua Minerale. Side by side again. Ritters gets pushed off and Ridgway loses traction. He drops back down. Now it's Joey Tebben up to the lead of the race. Coffrey is going to try and take him as they head into Varianta Alta.
Oh, we've got a big off there. I believe that's Joey Tebben finding a little bit of a problem, and I think Coffrey's got to slow down.
Yes, he does. Coffrey with a slowdown, so this is going to change everything once again. Broomhead has moved his way up into the lead of this race somehow, and now he's been challenged by Ridgway, who tries to get him around the outside. Ridgway's going to get that job done. Broomhead still trying to chase him down as they go back onto the straightaway.
And that was Duhamel off in the back. It's Kita and Coffrey, I think, that got into each other there a little bit. I see Christopher Richards dropping down positions as well. But up at the front, we are still side by side. Oh my goodness, almost 3 wide.
Contact between Ridgway and Presley. Cadence Presley now up into 2nd position. Broomhead has to fall in behind him. Presley tries to dive it down to the 1st turn. Can't quite do so. Oh, he makes contact with Ridgway. Ridgway's around. Cadence Presley now in the lead of this race. Broomhead's going to have a good run as they head down towards the next turn.
And Broomhead thinking about trying to make a dive down into Villeneuve, but has nothing to do there. Ritter's now looking very aggressive as well. Ritter's running a little bit wide. That's going to compromise his exit as they make their way up into Tosa right now. This is the slow braking zone. Who can get the better run off the line? There, no wheel spin for any of our 3 top drivers. Jeez Louise, Adam, this opening lap has been nothing short of chaos.
Absolutely. James Carter has pulled off to the side of the road. Ridgway's got suspension damage, so he's not going to be content either. Daniel Barrett's gone around in the background as well, as we see James Carter going to the pit lane, but it's all eyes on Cadence Presley and Michael Broomhead. Battle lane, contact between Broomhead and Presley. This is going to give an opportunity to Ritters, who has to check up Broomhead to the lead after that contact between the 2 of them. Now Ritters goes around. He's going to challenge it to Variante Alta and beat Broomhead in. Move Steve Ritters back up to the lead.
Indeed, I think with that from Broomhead, he just didn't expect Presley to be braking as early as he did, going down into Aqua Minerale, but now it looks like Broomhead's back on the attack here, getting into the draft of Steve Ritters. Takes a look to the inside of Ravazza, but that's going to be nothing doing. Presley behind him.
Oh,
carry a little bit.
And that's Ritters who's gone off in the corner. So now we got Broomhead back up to the lead. Presley with a decent run off of the corner, but not good enough. Ritters falls way back, and now he comes back on track side by side with Matthew Gunderson. And Ritter's trying to hold this off. Now we got Dave Peterson who's back into the fight. He's going to make to look at 3 wide as they go across the line. Once again, it's also side by side for the lead. Once again, as we got Cadence Presley and Michael Broomhead up there. But this 3 wide battle heading into the first turn. Who's going to break latest? It's going to be Ritters around the outside.
Oh, what an amazing move there from Ritters. Utter confidence in his car and confidence in Gunderson and Peterson to be able to stick it around. But that's creating a nice little battle in the back there between, I believe that's Peterson, Gunderson, and now Vargas starting to look a little bit excited.
Absolutely. Vargas tried to take it around the outside, couldn't quite do so. Now it's side by side still between Gunderson and Peterson, but they're able to get this sorted. Vargas, oh no! Contact between Gunderson and Peterson. They're both off. Vargas moves up into, goodness, 5th position, but he spins. Now it's Law who's moved up, and Kofre back up to 5th.
And Adam, that bumps Kevin Santana all the way up to 7th. That is up 15 positions in the course of 3 laps. Ahead of him, Aaron Law, the hardest charger, up 17 positions.
So Kevin Santana, the only driver who hasn't had a problem on these first couple of laps, he's now moved himself up into that 8th spot. Aaron Law ahead of him in 7th. Kofre is back up to 6th. Now Ritter's in 5th. But the leader of this race is Cadence Presley. Gunderson's now in the pits. So Cadence Presley now leads this race with Michael Broomhead a 2.5 back with Sean Duhamel and then Ritter's in 5th.
Yeah, Presley was able to get a really good move around Broomhead going down into Tamburello, and frankly has never looked back. Now remember, Broomhead's had a little bit of contact, and yeah, there's some damage on the left front ring rather of Broomhead's car, so I think that's affecting a little bit there. You can see it on the left front end plate.
Absolutely, that's going to affect his straight line speed. So Sean Duhamel, even with the draft, is gaining even more than he usually is. There you see that damage on Broomhead. So Broomhead in 2nd, Duhamel in 3rd, and Broomhead should have a good opportunity to make a move on. Duhamel should be able to make a move on Broomhead here going into the next turn.
He certainly thinks about it going into Villeneuve, and then he commits to it down to the inside and easily around there for Sean Duhamel. Now he's going to set his sights up the road to Cadence Presley. And now for Broomhead, his day is not done. That is Ritters coming up behind him. Also Sebastian Kofre, currently the holder of the fastest lap of the race. He's about 3 seconds back of this battle, but we're going to ride on board with Steven Ritters.
Absolutely. Ritters trying to make progress. He's had good races so far, but he's been off track twice today, so unfortunately not in his car isn't necessarily the best of position, but it's definitely better off than Broomhead with that front wing damage. He just has to play it patient, because Broomhead is not going to be able to hold the same straight line speed, so once they get down to the front straightaway, he should be able to make it by. Then he can latch on to Duhamel and pray that Duhamel carries him up to Presley, who's leading. Oh wow, lots of curb from Broomhead.
Yeah, big time. I think that's a little bit of effect of not having that front end grip, and they've been able to work that gap down to Presley to about 2.5 seconds right now. So it's all about a patience game here for Ritters. Kofre closing in though, only about 1.6 seconds back. You can see how close Ritters is here, being very patient through Avatso 1 and 2, working that car around, and here comes that straight line disadvantage that you talked about for Broomhead.
Absolutely. Even in the draft, Broomhead can't keep up with Duhamel, and that's just due to that angle of the wing being a little bit off. Look at this. Ritters choosing the right side. He's going to go around the outside. Broomhead, nothing he can do about it. So now Ritters has to cling to the back of Duhamel and pray that Duhamel can carry himself up to Presley, who now has a 2.6 second lead.
And we're going to jump over here to Sebastian Kofre, riding on board with him. Now he's the one that has Michael Broomhead squarely in his sights. He's been able to pull that gap down under a second by now. Now at this point, he will be able to start taking advantage of the draft when they get on the longer straights here, but he's just got to keep it together through the twisty bits. Watch out for any aero wash that number 5 will be kicking up behind him.
Absolutely, and he's got to close that gap as well, because from this far back, that's going to be Ritters and Duhamel streaking away, so he's got to make sure to close this gap to Broomhead as much as he possibly can through here. Though that's quite wide, but he can take that line and give up an incident point for the sake of speed, and that's exactly what he's done. Now braking, he's about half a second back of Broomhead, who's half a second back of Ritters.
Yeah, Coffre doing a really good job to catch up here. Again, much like we saw Ritters on that last lap, I think he'll be able to get some good ground here through Variante Alta. Big chunk of curb there on the first part of the corner for Coffre, but he's able to keep it nice and together. The gap now still holding about 0.6 of a second. Broomhead, despite that front wing damage, is looking very strong through the corners of this track. He's just really suffering when it comes to the straight line.
Absolutely, and it's not that Broomhead isn't a fast driver. We know he is, being second in the points, but unfortunately that front wing damage is exactly the problem that's hurting him. It's his Achilles heel at this point, and it's going to be his Achilles heel on the straightaway. Coffre, with enough of a run, he's definitely going to be able to make it by the time they hit the first turn.
Yeah, and there you can see Broomhead trying to do everything he can. He's trying to block off that inside line, but Coffre already up and by, and that is an ominous sign for the rest of the field as the 666 of Kevin Santana setting the fastest lap of the race.
Absolutely, Kevin Santana down in 7th position, tucked in behind Aaron Law with that draft. Now they have just gone through Tamburello, now headed up to Villeneuve, and look at this, Kevin Santana trying to assert his dominance. Can't quite do so. Aaron Law, very good defensive driving there. Now as they head up to Tosa, Kevin Santana looking to the outside. Law moves to the racing line as he's allowed to do, but that just opens up the inside for Kevin Santana. But Law with a good exit, able to keep the speed going and block off Santana's progress.
That's really good defense there from Aaron Law, knowing where to place the car. That corner of Tosa, very slightly cambered there for those drivers. Woohoo! Kevin Santana almost up the gearbox of Aaron Law. But Law showing a lot of cool under pressure here. Oh, I think we've had a slowdown penalty for our leader. Cadence Presley has let Sean Duhamel by.
Absolutely. Now he's trying to defend on Steven Ritters into Variante Alta. Gets it done, but Duhamel now up to the lead. He was gaining already, but Cadence Presley, unfortunately, with that slowdown as they dove down into Aqua Minerale. It was bad, but now we're going back to Coffre, who's trying to keep himself tucked in behind Ritters, trying to get past him. And man, Steve Ritters, Coffre, I mean, this battle for the lead, once again, 4 cars wide.
Indeed, Adam, and Coffre looking very aggressive. They're actually getting his 2 left tires off onto the grass and the run down from Variante Alta. Now they're all going to be in that straight line, and Duhamel looking like he's got that car maybe a little bit more trimmed out, maybe able to run in a faster line better. Very good top speed there from Steve Ritters to catch up to Cadence Presley, making their way through Tamburello, and a good exit there from Ritters.
Absolutely good exit. Is Ritters going to take a look down into Villeneuve? Yes, he is. Oh my goodness, a deep send from Cadence Presley. That's going to slow him up as he goes through the next section of Villeneuve. And here comes Coffre from way back, and now they're almost going to go 3 wide into Tosa. That's a slide from Ritters as he tries to hold it. They're going to go up the hill almost 3 wide again. Ritters and Presley side by side. It's going to be 3 wide as they head up towards the next turn. Oh my goodness, Coffre gets his nose almost chopped off there. Presley turns in. Ritters and Coffre side by side as they head down to Aqua Minerale.
Oh, boys, you got to be careful here coming into that braking zone. Coffre backing off. Very smart there from him. Trying to go too wide through the second part of that corner is a sure death knell if you are not careful. But, oh, my goodness gracious. Talk about some great respectful battling there, really from Villeneuve all the way up to Aqua Minerale between these 3 drivers. Cadence Presley now starting to get a little bit ahead, but here comes Coffre behind Ritters.
Coffre trying to make his way around Ritters. Oh boy, that was close as they came in under the squeeze. Ritters might have braked a little bit too late there. He does manage to slide it through the corner. Coffre with a good opportunity if he gets a good exit, and he does get a good exit. Now he's got the draft of Ritters, but is it going to be a little bit too early for him? He's going to be making this move halfway down the straightaway, which is going to break him out of the draft of Ritters. He's got to stay in that draft of Presley. They're going to be side by side as they head towards Tamburello.
They are indeed, and it's going to be Ritters on the preferred line going in. It's going to have to be Coffre very late on the brakes, but he brakes early, looking for a little bit of an over-under, hoping that Ritters would overshoot the corner. But Ritters wily to that position. Coffre is going to have to stay in line here. Got a decent run out of the end of the corner, but not enough to make a move down into Villeneuve. Both cars checking up. A little bit of a squirm there from Ritters. Coffre running a little bit wide on corner exit, and now they're both trying to take a wide berth up through Tosa and avoid any of that wheel spin as they charge up the hill.
Absolutely, and down behind this battle, Aaron Law has still been able to hold off Kevin Santana and Michael Broomhead. Kevin Santana and Michael Broomhead 1 and 2 in the championship points, now 1 and 2 on track as well as they try and make their way around Aaron Law. As we continue to watch this battle between Ritters and Coffre, here we go, looking at Santana, trying to get around Aaron. Aaron's been defending like a beast today.
He really has, but goes wide there on the second part of Aqua Minerale. That's gonna give our championship leader a good opportunity there. He's gonna have to try to be later on the brakes going down into Variante Alta. He's got the corner, he's got the move, and he is around. So move Kevin Santana up into 5th position. Now he's gonna set his sights up the road about 2.5 seconds to the 4th place car of Sebastian Coffre.
Absolutely, and Broomhead's going to want to get his move done as well, but here we go, looking at the battle once again. Coffre and Ritters. Is Coffre going to get a better exit this time? The answer is no. Ritters with an excellent exit this time around, and he's actually closed the gap to Presley by a little bit. It's only 1.2 seconds, but Presley is closing on Duhamel, and it's now definitely within the draft as well, under a second for these guys, so very interesting. Let's see whether or not Aaron Law decides to fight back on Broomhead as well. Oh, sorry, rather on Santana, and he is! Aaron Law trying to go on the outside of Santana.
Oh, a little bit of blink there from Kevin Santana. I think that may have scared off Aaron Law, but Santana able to hold him off going down into Tamburello. We're going to keep our eyes focused there on Sebastian Coffre. You can see that battle popping in behind you. So, is that Coffre keeping in line through Villeneuve, letting the car run a little bit? Is he going to have a look going up into Tosa? No, he's going to make Ritters go defensive. I think that may give Coffre a little bit better of a jump off the line. Here we go.
Yeah, trying to pass through Piratel is a real challenge, but he's going to try and do it. He's going to set it up the inside of Ritters. How is this going to go? Ritters goes off track, but he's manages to keep the position. Coffre can't get it done there. He's going to have to hold on as they go through Aqua Minerale and hopefully get a better exit and make a challenge in Variante Alta. A little bit of a slide from Ritters there, as it looks like Colin Heffernan has decided to take a tow. He had his own spin in the background, but the lead is also starting to close up. It's down to half a second between Cadence Presley and Sean Duhamel.
It is. Every time we think one of these battles goes away, whoa, that's a big wiggle there from Steve Ritters. And this is the opportunity that Sebastian Coffre has been looking for. He's going to try to take it around the long way around Ravazza 1 and 2. They dive down the hill. He is a car length ahead, but later on the brakes is Ritters. Ritters able to hold it out, but Coffre gets by as Ritters goes wide.
Absolutely. So Ritters now off of position to try and challenge Coffre, and then it goes up to Cadence Presley and Sean Duhamel. Those two drivers now battling for 1 and 2. Presley has been catching up to Duhamel over the last couple of laps, and it looks like Broomhead has headed into the pits, unfortunately.
Yes, he has.
Oh, here we go. Move from Presley late on the brakes, and he's able to get it done through Tamburello. That was from a long way back.
Let's jump back and check out a replay of this, Adam. A great move from Cadence Presley, just sticking into that draft, holding out as long as he can. There you can see that closing speed very late on the brakes down to the inside and able to just get his elbows out and move his way into P1.
Michael Broomhead taking his pit stop because he needs to get that wing replaced. But let's head back down to the battle for P9 with Tyler Scarali, Christopher Richards, Dave Peterson, and Joey Tebbett, who's fallen back because of his own wing damage. He might follow Broomhead in the next time around because Joey Tebbett has some of that wing damage from those earlier battlings.
I don't think it would be the worst idea in the world for Tebbin to do it. I like Broomhead's decision to come in. This is within the pit window, although it is very early, so he's going to have to deal with a lot of tire wear late in the race. But as we continue to watch that, that's a wide run there from Dave Peterson trying to track down Christopher Richards into Aqua Minerale. Not going to make the move there, but he certainly has some good speed. A little bit of a wide run there from Richards. This may be the opportunity that Peterson needs.
Peterson looking up the inside of the next turn. Let's see who's going to break later, Peterson or Richards. It's always risky to go through Aqua Minerale side by side, but they managed to do it. Variante Alta, rather. Dave Peterson moving himself up into the 10th position, now trying to catch himself up to Tyler Scarali. But look at this, Joey Tebbin trying to put the pressure on Peterson.
Yeah, Tebbin trying to recover from that earlier spin. He's going to have to go around the outside of Ravazza 1. Carries a lot of speed, hoping that Christopher Richards was going to go a little bit wider there, but he's still able to carry a good amount of momentum as they come back now onto the main straightaway. Tebbin not able to get the blast out of Ravazza 2 that he wanted, and now it looks like Richards may be on the counter attack here as Kevin Santana also coming into the pits early.
Absolutely. Richards going around the outside here, heading into Tamburello. He's going to have the opposite line from the preferred line, but he does brake at the same time. Look at this. Tebbit trying to take advantage of that. Can't quite do so either, as Richards had to back off to give Peterson the racing line.
Yes, he did. So they're going to stay in order here, but that's Manuel Vargas also starting to get a little bit interested in this battle as these three continue to squabble over what is P9. Tyler Scarali in counter has started to pull away a little bit to the tune of about 1.2 seconds.
Absolutely. So Manuel Vargas joining this battle. Look at this, Joey Tebben right up the back of Richards, but that wing damage is definitely going to be hurting him and his passing capabilities. Is he going to look to the inside here? No, he does not. He decides to think better of it through Tamburello. Man, is Piratella rather, and man, it is extremely difficult for Joey Tebben to keep that car on the track with that wing damage. Look at this, a little bit of a bobble from Richards once again, and Tebben looks up the inside.
Yes, he does. He's going to have to be late on the brakes here. Watch out for those big chunks of curb going through Variante Alta. Tebben is indeed later on the brakes, and he is going to be by Richards. This is fully allowed for Vargas to close in now, as Richards had to compromise his run through Variante Alta. Riding on board now with Manuel Vargas. Starts to take a little bit look to the inside as they blast down the hill. Is he going to try to make a move through Ravazza? Whoo, heavy on the binders, almost into the back of Richards.
Absolutely, both of them a little bit loose on the brakes there. Vargas with a decent run off the corner, and with Richards about a second and a half back from Tebben at this point, I think Vargas has got a good opportunity to make a move as they come into Tamburello. But look at that, Richards with a little bit too much wheel input there. Look at this, he tries to cover him off coming across the track, but Vargas to the inside and fully passed by the time we hit the braking for Tamburello.
Yeah, indeed. Richards losing 2 positions there in the course of about 5 or 6 corners. So now Vargas is going to try to catch back up to Joey Tebben. Tebben, in turn, has got to try to catch up to Peterson and Scarali, both of whom have been able to pull away a little bit. Oh, that was a little bit of a move there from Richards, trying to get a little bit feisty, but Vargas wise to the maneuver.
Absolutely. So Vargas with a good opportunity to try and cling himself back up to the back of Joey Tebben and try and get himself into that battle for 10th position. Up at the front of the field, Cadence Presley leads Sean Duhamel by 1.3 seconds. And then Kofre is only a little bit behind Duhamel, just about 3/4 of a second behind Duhamel. So Kofre trying to work his recovery drive. Steve Ritters has fallen back by about 1.5 seconds from these guys. And then Aaron Law bringing up the back of these guys as Kevin Santana, as we said, came to the pits. Kevin Santana has come back out in the 14th position, about 3 seconds ahead of Broomhead. So unfortunately for Broomhead, that early pit stop not working out for him in the championship battle.
No, it's certainly not, but I think that Kevin Santana may have had a pretty sly idea here in taking that pit stop. It's gotten him out in some pretty clear air. He's just got the 18th place lapped car of Robert Ridgway in front of him, so he's able to put in some hot laps. Yes, he will lose a little bit of speed down the front straightaway, not having the benefit of the draft, but through the rest of the track, being able to run in clear air and really take the lines that he wants to do, I think he's going to be setting some very, very quick times, and indeed looking at those, he is looking a little bit fearsome here.
Absolutely. Tyler Gore and Joey Tebben have decided to split this race in 2. They're both in the pits. Joey Tebben for a wing change. Tyler Gore just trying to get that fuel efficiency done. But we got a really interesting thing going on here with, I believe this is the 7th and 8th place position. This is between Tyler Scarali and Dave Peterson, who are currently battling for 7th and 8th.
Yeah, indeed, that's Scarali ahead of him in that Green Britannia machine, and Peterson coming in. Now remember, this is crucial for that battle in the teams championship. That's Viking Hot Rod Racing, which is Dave Peterson. Britannia is about 13 points behind them, so Scarali really wanting to try to keep ahead here to maximize those points going into the final round.
Absolutely, and these guys continuing to battle. Dave Peterson just clinging to the back of Scarali, and the reason why he is so close is because Scarali is kind of the back of a train. James Holland now only about 2.5 seconds up ahead of Scarali, so Scarali not in the draft, Dave Peterson in the draft of Scarali, which is why we see him so tucked in so close. Oh boy.
Yeah, it's a big blink there for Tyler Scarali. But Adam, let's check back in on our leaders because this battle has tightened in a little bit. 5th place Aaron Law, though, coming into the pits as Sebastian Kofre sets the fastest lap of the race, really catching in on Sean Duhamel.
Absolutely, that's the fuel load going down for these drivers, and Kofre has been able to gain all these positions back without wearing the tires off too much. But look at this, Duhamel with a fantastic run here on Presley. Is he going to look to the inside? Yes, he's going to think about it, but decides to stay back as they go into Villeneuve. But that compromised line means Kofre is going to have an opportunity in the Tosa if Duhamel doesn't cover him off, and Duhamel does cover him off, so Kofre has to stay behind. And here we go, nose to tail as they exit Tosa.
Every time we look in on these guys, it seems like the balance just shifts one way or the other. Kofre putting a lot of pressure here to Sean Duhamel, just trying to see if he can force a mistake. That aero wash pushing Kofre a little bit wide, but he's able to carry momentum. He's got to look down the inside of Agua Minerale, thinks better of it, and backs off.
Absolutely. So all of this battling, I mean, the draft is so effective in these F3 machines. Aaron Law looks like he's coming into the pits as well for some pit stops. He's actually been in there for quite a while, so he might have actually hit the incident limit and done the drive. Oh my goodness, that's close between Coffrey and Duhamel as they go through Variante Alta.
Yeah, I'm not sure what that is for Aaron Law. He's currently sitting at over a minute for the pit stop, so that may be a pit lane speeding penalty or something of that nature. We'll have to get back to you on this. A little bit too much action on track to be able to go to the pits. Here comes that run out of Ravazza 2, and that's Duhamel diving down pit lane.
So Duhamel hits the pits, and actually Aaron Law, speaking of hitting the pits, hit the outside wall of pit lane with suspension and wheel damage. The wheel came off, so that's why he's taking so long in the pits. But Sean Duhamel, the first of our leaders to come into the pits, and it'll be interesting to see how he fares against Kevin Santana and Michael Broomhead, who've been putting in some wicked laps.
Yeah, and the one other thing for the that is a problem for these leaders is they are starting to catch lap traffic. That is David Hebert. They're working their way around right now. Joey Tebben, who remember took an early pit stop, is about 3 seconds up the road from them as well. Watching here as Coffrey works his way around Tosa and heads up the hill.
A little bit of a wide line from Coffrey, trying not to scrub off too much speed, but he's fallen back about a second and a half behind Cadence Presley, who's up ahead of them. Closing in on 15 minutes to go, 16 minutes to go right now for this race. Very, very tight race for all of these drivers.
Well, I have some good news for the leaders, keeping an eye on where Sean Duhamel has come out in relation to the hard-charging Kevin Santana. He has got 2 spots on him. Donald Olson currently splitting the 2 right now. It's about 6 seconds in between Santana and Duhamel.
Absolutely. So it's good news for the leaders. It means they can come in now and come out ahead of Kevin Santana, which is exactly what they need to know. But my concern is that if you come in early, you end up going onto more fuel. And even though you have fresh tires, you've got more fuel in that car. So I wonder, I mean, the lap times from Cadence Presley and Sebastian Coffrey are 1:38.7s, and Presley into the pits.
Indeed, I think that's probably a better call, but he's going to be a little bit upset. That's a lapped car in front of him. I believe that's Matthew Gunderson that pulled off. I'm not sure exactly who it was, but and we're going to check in again, though, on that battle between Peterson and Scarali, as this hasn't exactly gone away quite yet.
No, it hasn't. Peterson had a really good opportunity, but Scarali now diving into the pits. Peterson's going to keep going. Oh, Cadence Presley's missed his pit box.
Oh,
Mrs.
no.
Pit box by quite a bit, by 2 spots. He can't get in.
And he's still not there, finally getting work done on the car, not taking tires, just fuel. But I think that may be enough as he gets his way back out. Is that going to be able to put anybody else around him able
Kevin
to get
Santana. Santana going by right now. So is Broomhead. Presley falling back. My mistake. Here comes Broomhead right now, but Kevin Santana was able to get by Cadence Presley. So Cadence Presley falling back to about 5th position.
Yeah, and now Michael Broomhead, remember, he's going to be able to have that front wing repaired. You can see the symmetry there as we ride on board with the roll hoop. So that car is going to be operating at full tilt right now. And we've seen the speed out of that Britannia iSports MRM driver. So watch for Presley here to be in a world of trouble as Broomhead is going to start trying to do everything he can do to get back forward. At this point, though, the top 4, Coffrey, Ritters, Peterson, and Richards, they're the only ones left to have not pitted.
Absolutely, and they're also lapping about half a second slower than Broomhead and Santana. Santana with the 38 flat last lap compared to Coffrey, who actually did a 37.8. So actually Coffrey with a very quick time. So that extra fuel is a lot, but oh, Presley with a slowdown.
Again, we've seen a couple of drivers picking that up through the exit of Agua Minerale, and now Coffrey and Ritters both into the pits. I'm keeping an eye here, but we're going to check out this replay, Adam.
Yeah, just that little bit. Just enough to miss the red and white curbing on the exit. That's all you need to pick up a slowdown penalty around here at Imola.
It is indeed. But, oh, it looks like Coffrey's got a long pit stop, but Ritters, in turn, is out and on his way. Santana passed Dave Peterson at this point. I am not sure what has happened to Dave Peters. I'm not sure what happened there.
So Kevin Santana past Dave Peterson. Dave Peterson into the pits once again. Kevin Santana up to third position. And Coffre, who was in the lead, took an 11-second pit stop over Ritter's 4.5 and Santana's 6.8. So Ritter's back out into the lead now, 6 seconds ahead of Coffre. And then Santana only a second behind Coffre for second.
I wonder there for Sebastian Coffre if he maybe accidentally overfueled the car or something like that. As you said, that was a very, very long pit stop for the driver of the 28. So not sure what that was, but Steven Ritter's there out front right now by about 5-6 seconds. So he's got a lot of breathing room. Still has to navigate around some lap traffic though.
Absolutely. And Cadence Presley on his recovery is out in 5th position. And he's got, Tyler Gore, Dave Peterson, and Tyler Scarali battling for 6th position. Is very tight between these guys as they're all, Dave Peterson trying to work on his drive. Tyler Gore doing a great job today, up 2 positions, but honestly, it's Tyler Scarali who's I'm most impressed with right now, up 6 positions from a starting spot.
Yeah, it's a really, really great run there for Scarali, doing some good jobs to press his way forward. Obviously, though, the highest climber of the race is Kevin Santana, up 19.
Oh, almost contact between Dave Peterson and Tyler Scarali as they're trying to navigate this final sector. This will give an opportunity to Tyler Gore if he doesn't spin out. Tyler Gore spins out off of the final corner, unfortunately.
Well, that is unfortunate for Gore. Looks like he may have nosed into the wall. Let's check out the replay on this, Adam. Ooh, just a little bit of a train. You can see there Gore checking himself up. I think he tried to carry a little bit of speed out of there. Car gets a little bit squirrely, probably took a little bit too much of that entrance curb. Gets it off onto the grass, tries to get it turned around. I don't think he got front wing damage, so let me rephrase that.
Looks like Sebastian Coffre is closing up to the back of, closing up to the front wing of Kevin Santana. Kevin Santana just getting past Matthew Gunderson, trying to catch up to Coffre. Kevin Santana has just been extremely consistent throughout the day. I mean, he had trouble in qualifying, but he was able to avoid all the chaos earlier and get himself up into third with that early pit stop cycle. Now remember, he's on older tires. He's been out for 18 laps on this stint. He has been out for 8 laps on this stint to Coffre's single lap. So this is absolutely a difference in tire wear and fuel. Fuel should be about the same for these drivers at this stage in the race. So Coffre should be able to pull away from Kevin Santana, but the draft tells a different story.
It does indeed, and I did.
Oh, we've had a big wreck. James Holland and David Hebert, and this was through Variante Alta. David Hebert gets Variante Alta wrong, and that was James Holland who just gets into him. So here we go, taking a look at David Hebert. He's gonna try and get himself through Variante Alta.
All right, so you see they're trying to let everybody through a little bit is a bear. Watching from Holland's onboard. Oh, you can see him just getting out of it and nowhere for Holland to go. Wheel-to-wheel contact. Oh, that is a heartbreaker there for James Holland. Looks like he was potentially able to escape with not a lot of damage necessarily, but he is going to get that front wing repaired right now.
Absolutely. So we're going to take a look at that battle for 6th position between Dave Peterson and Tyler Scarali. And Dave Peterson just being caught a little bit by Scarali, but through Tosa, it just closed up a little bit. But Kevin Santana actually beginning to close on Coffre once again.
Yes, he is. There you can see the gap between that pink and red machine. That's Santana able to work it down to about 0.8 of a second right there. I think Coffre was able to get a little bit of a better run out of Variante Alta. Santana here trying to keep that under about a second before they get onto the start-finish straightaway here. It's a wide run for Coffre. I don't think it cost him too much time. And indeed, Santana's got it under a second, so he will get a little bit of benefit of the draft as we tick over here with 5 laps to go. It's not going to be enough to make a move here, but it's certainly going to be enough to be able to bring that leading age racing driver just a little bit closer.
Absolutely. So 8 minutes left of this 40-minute race for these drivers. And Coffre, he's starting to get a little bit of the aero wash off of Colin Heffernan. So It looks like Kevin Santana got the maximum that he could out of the draft. And so this is actually good news for Kevin Santana because Kofre got held up just a little bit by Heffernan due to that aero wash. So he's now moving forward.
Yeah, he is indeed. Ooh, it sounded like a big squeal off to the front there. Not sure exactly who that was, but as we continue to watch this, you see Santana just pushing as hard as he can. That is Ritter's in the front of your screen. Yeah, I think Ritter's had a problem coming up out of Tosa, Adam, because Kofre's been able to pull that down to about one second.
Oh, yeah, you're right. Ritter's almost wrecked it coming out of Tosa. He got way sideways. Let's take a look at this because this was almost a race-ending incident for Ritter's.
All right, so brings it out wide, just a little bit of wheel spin. Oh, great job to catch that car for the driver of the 66. But you can see all the time that it cost him. The gap now is about 1 second, which does mean that Kofre's going to get a little bit of an advantage of the draft here.
Oh boy, here we go. Kofre's got a fantastic exit, and Ritter's did not have a good one. This might be a change for the lead here coming into Tamburello. It's going to be really close. Kevin Santana looking on as Ritter's and Kofre battle. Ritter's trying to win as he did 2 weeks ago. Here we go, side by side. They're almost touching wheels as Kofre's going to try and break later on the outside, but Ritter's on the racing line, able to get it done. But can Kofre get the run once again? They're battling side by side. Has brought Kevin Santana into this. Is Kevin going to win from starting in the back of the field? It might come to be, but Ritter's and Kofre still battling here as we head to Tosa, and they've got Donald Olson to try and pass as well.
They do indeed, and it may be a little bit of a check up there for your leader, and indeed, he runs wide on the exit of Tosa. Here comes Kofre. He's got a good run, as does Santana. Are any of them going to be brave enough to try to make a move going through Piratella? Kofre certainly thinks about it, but backs off a little bit. That's going to cost him about a 10th back up to your leader of Ritter's. Now Santana looking for a move. They go down into Agua Minerales single file, but we've only got 3 laps at the Rhine here.
Absolutely. So about 5 minutes left to go. It's going to be really close from these drivers. And one of the things they have to keep their eyes on is the incident points. Joseph Tebben has unfortunately had to disqualify from this race due to incident points. And as you see, Kevin Santana going off course there at the end of Variante Alta. These drivers have to be really careful because they're going to get a pass through if they're not careful, if they get too many of these, and they're battling for the lead.
They are indeed, and that's probably going to be an off track there from Ritter's, getting his right rear tire off into the grass and again into the kitty litter on the exit of Ravazza 2. That's going to give Kofre all the opportunity that he needs. He'll pull out to what will be the inside of the braking zone going down into Tamburello. He's not going to have the draft, but I think he's got the outright speed. They're side by side as they cross the timing and scoring line.
Here comes Kevin Santana. Is he going to try and make a 3 wide into Tamburello? He thinks better of it. He's going to let these guys battle. Late move from Ritter's around the outside. Unfortunately, ends in contact between himself and Kofre. Ritter's off into the kitty litter. Kevin Santana now on the challenge to Kofre. Let's take a look at this one.
This was very, very close here. I want to take another look at this, Adam, before I pass any judgment on what it is. I hate to say this, but I think that was Ritter's turning in a little bit on Sebastian Kofre.
Yeah, just a little bit of a squeeze, unfortunately, there led to him falling out the back. But Kevin Santana's now fallen off the back of Kofre by about half a second as Kofre able to keep going. And Kevin Santana trying to get himself going. Steve Ritter's able to recover in the 5th position, but he's got 3.5 seconds up to Keynes Presley. But Kevin Santana, he's got about 2.5 minutes to catch Kofre and try and win this race from starting in last.
Well, Adam, if anybody can do it, it is Kevin Santana. Good close up there coming through Variante Alta. They start to balloon back out a little bit. Gap is about 0.6 of a second right now. So Santana will know that. He'll get a good run out of Ravazza 2. Let's keep our eyes here on the line of that red 666 machine. Gets through, good exit on Ravazza 2. Doesn't get off into the kitty litter. Little bit of squeezing in, and here comes the draft.
Absolutely. And so Kevin Santana knows he can't get him into Tamburello this time around. But look at this. Kofre trying to break the draft a little bit, take a shorter line across the start-finish line, get Kevin Santana to be upset a little bit. Kevin Santana late on the brakes into Tamburello, able to close up once again on Kofre as we ride on board with Santana as he tries to chase down this win.
Yeah, that looked like a little bit of a squirrely exit there out of Tamburello from Sebastian Coffre. But Santana closing in big time, kicking up some dirt are the both of them on the exit of Villeneuve. Now down into Tosa. Tighter line there for Kevin Santana, but I think a little bit of an advantage for Sebastian Coffre as he was able to carry a little bit more momentum. Now charging up the hill towards Piratella.
Let's see whether or not Kevin Santana or Coffre can get a better line, and the answer is Coffre, absolutely. Kevin Santana missing the apex by about a couple feet there, so unfortunately he had to fall off the back of Coffre, but now through Aqua Minerale up towards Variante Alta. Coffre and Santana very careful to make sure they don't get slowdowns here. It's gonna be tight. It's gonna be two to go right now. It's gonna be possibly white flag at the line. We'll have to see what iRacing decides as they both take a wide exit off of Variante Alta headed towards Ravazza 1 and 2.
And Santana has been able to bring that gap down a little bit, but as they make the run down the hill, it looks like it's advantage Coffre. Santana a little bit later on the brakes, but that causes a little bit of squirreliness in the middle of the corner. Gap about a half a second again. It's tough there for Santana. It is going to be white flag at the line, so it is now or never time for your current championship leader.
They cross the line. It is the white flag. It is the final lap of this race for these drivers. Santana has to make the move, and he's got to make it now. Coffre, he gets a little bit upset there going into Tamburello. He got a little bit shaken up by Santana looking to the inside. Look at this, Santana with a great run off of the corner. I'm not sure he's close enough to make a move into Villeneuve. He's going to look to the inside. Coffre knows he can't make the move there, stays on his racing line. That's going to hold up Santana a little bit wide for Coffre, headed towards Tosa.
Yeah, but it's not quite enough to be able to give Kevin Santana the opportunity he needs to make the pass there, but he's still close behind. Charging their way up the hill now. Santana about 0.3 of a second back from Coffre. He's not going to be close enough to make it into Piratella, but is he able to keep close enough with the aero wash ride run there from Kevin Santana? The gap expands a little bit as they make the run down into Aqua Minerale.
It's going to have to be perfect from Kevin Santana through Aqua Minerale and through Variante Alta, but he clips the inside curb. He clips the inside curb, and he's falling back from Coffre. Coffre just needs to nail Variante Alta and then make it through the Ravazzas clean. Here we go. Santana late on the brakes. A big curbing from Coffre, but he's still able to get the better exit. Kevin Santana's running out of options here. He's only got 2 corners to go before he takes this win.
I don't know if he's going to have it, but we've seen stranger things happen. Here he comes. Santana's going to have to be very late on the brakes. Indeed, he is. But he's going to run wide. He runs wide on the exit of Ravazza.
And that's going to give the win over to Coffre, who comes out of Ravazza 2 excellently. And he's going to come across the line and win today's crazy race at Imola. Kevin Santana from the back of the grid up to 2nd position. And Michael Broomhead as well up 4 spots into 3rd.
Holy moly, and there you see Michael Broomhead crossing the line. We're going to jump back
Presley!
here.
Presley had to take a pit. He had to do a drive-through due to incidents, and he's given up 4th and 5th to Ritters.
That's a little bit of consolation there for Ritters, who was in the lead pack of this race, but the incident costing him out. Tyler Scarali there looks like he's going to be able to come out ahead of everything in front of Christopher Richards, so he'll be happy about that.
What a crazy race we have had as the drivers continue to finish. Manuel Vargas will round and come home in the 9th position with Tyler Gore in 10th. Oh my goodness, this race has been insane. Now we're going to take a short break here, and we're going to come back with some very unofficial results as well as a couple of driver interviews. Don't go away, you're not going to want to miss this. Welcome back to the PRL Formula 3 Amateur Series, round 9 here at Imola. And it was a firecracker of a race for sure, with Sebastian Coffret taking the win from second position, but that does not tell the story. Kevin Santana from 22nd on the grid up to second place, 20 positions gained for him. Michael Broomhead able to climb his way up to third position, with Steven Ritters finishing in fourth from starting on the third position. Dave Peterson is going to finish in fifth today, with Tyler Scaralli able to pass Christopher Richards for that sixth position. Christopher Richards finishing in seventh, with Tyler Gore in eighth. Takeshi Kita comes home in ninth position, with Kenneth Presley, unfortunately, due to his pass-through penalty, coming home in 10th.
Manuel Vargas was 11th, followed by Donald Olson, who was the first of your drivers a lap down. James Holland and Sean Duhamel also one lap down, with Colin Heffernan and Robert Ridgway coming home 2 laps down and rounding out your top 16. Matthew Gunderson and Daniel Barnett were 3 laps down, 17th and 18th, and rounding out your top 20 was David Hebert and Joey Tebben, who was unable to finish due to incident points.
The rest of the drivers wrecked out of this race: James Carter, Aaron Law, Nick Horvath, who unfortunately disconnected, and David Blackwood did not start this race. So we're going to take Kevin Santana, our second place finisher. Now, Kevin, you decided to do the last to first challenge today, and you almost pulled it off. Talk to me about your race.
That wasn't by choice. I just couldn't keep my stuff together for the qualifying.
Absolutely, Kevin. But that being said, you were able to make quick work of the field, able to get up to 7th position by about lap 7. And talk to me about that early pit stop strategy, because it seemed to be something that not many people took you up on.
I saw they were fighting in front of me, so I figured, okay, we'll see what happens.
Absolutely able to get a lot of track position that way. But do you think it was the tires being old towards the end of the race that led you to lose touch with Sebastian a little bit, or was it just the fact that Sebastian was getting those better exits off the corners?
I accidentally changed tires on my pit stop.
Well, that would actually do it. Definitely added a little bit to your pit stop delta for sure. But talk to me about heading into next week. We've got going to the super speedway of F3, the Red Bull Ring. What are your thoughts heading into that race?
New track. Should be interesting.
Absolutely, Kevin. Well, with that second place finish, you've clinched absolutely the championship heading into next round. Is there anyone you want to thank for your finish today and your championship?
I'll thank my wife for putting up with me doing this.
Absolutely. Our spouses definitely put up with a lot from us. But thank you to Kevin Santana, who finishes in the second position. And now we're going to take up Michael Broomhead, who finished in third, climbing up a couple positions to get there.
Well, Michael, you got the podium here, but certainly a chaotic race, to say the least. How was it for you behind the sim?
Oh, really difficult. Got damaged very early on, had no straight line speed, no cornering. I could not get the car in. I was 3 seconds a lap off pace, and I just knew I had to get to the stop and make some changes there, and then I could fight my way back, but it worked out in the end.
Yeah, it certainly did. We were noticing that obviously on the broadcast. And so were you worried when you came in to make that stop that you were going to end up in traffic, or was it, just sort of a situation where, I've got to do this, otherwise my race is completely hosed?
Yeah, as soon as I saw my little number say that I would make it with 6 gallons of fuel left, I jumped in as soon as possible. It didn't matter where I ended up. I knew I had pace, but I was losing too much. Even the first lap out of the pits, I had bettered my best lap already, even from pit lane speed limit. So, yeah, it was really coming alive at the end there, and I'm surprised he got into the podium. Unlucky for Ritters, but also Kevin Santana. What a drive from him.
Yeah, it was pretty surprising to see it, to be honest. It was absolutely incredible. But looking at the championships here going into the final round at Austria, obviously this is going to help out Britannia a little bit, coming home third. It's also going to help solidify your second place in the Drivers' Championship. Going to Austria, are you looking at one over the other, or are you just going for the best race you can get there?
Yeah, at this stage, DJ, it's the best race that we can get. We've had a few drivers drop out. Everybody has, really. And so it's only Tyler and I scoring points for this team specifically. So, we're going to do our best. But you know what? Going into the Red Bull Ring, it's just going to be try and win the race. That's ultimately what we're going to do. I'm going to have fun trying to do it.
Well, I got to love that attitude, Michael. Anybody you'd like to thank for this podium here today?
Yeah, of course, Britannia iSports and boys, Mountain Range Marketing, LisaSlight.com, my family and Mimi, and of course you guys for putting on a wonderful broadcast. I just want to actually say that Nick's internet died and he was unfortunate, but he would have been fast today. We'll see him next week, though.
Well, and we will see you all next week as well for the season finale. That was your third place finisher, Michael Broomhead. Adam?
And that's actually going to close us out today. A very exciting race for sure. And we want to give a big thank you to the sponsors, ASR. They design and build the sturdiest and most durable aluminum profile racing simulation cockpits available in the market today. Visit them at advancedsimracing.com. RaceLab, it helps you to improve your driving skills. Start using it now for free at racelab.app. ButtKicker, feel what you've been missing at thebuttkicker.com. SimSA, find out how you can bridge the gap between virtual and real motorsports at simsa.net and NinjaTrader. Visit ninjatrader.com to get started with a risk-free trading simulator to start tracking your performance. Thanks to the companies that provide the software and hardware for our broadcast that are listed here on your screen, and additional thanks to June Lalonde, who provides our fantastic music. Check out her Bandcamp for more of her awesome work. Thanks to the team today, DJ, Sean, and Dougie. You can find out more about GSRC at globalsimracingchannel.com or through our social media. That's at the bottom of the screen. Also, please check out our merchandise store. You can score some merchandise at the store at simracingmerch.com/GSRC. We keep a link in the description below. And don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel as well so you don't miss a moment here on GSRC. The next race is going to be that season finale at Austria. Thursday, August 26th at 8:30 p.m. Eastern. If you thought today was crazy, just wait till that race. We also have upcoming races for other series that are also listed here on your screen, so check those out and mark them down in your calendar. But until then, we hope you've enjoyed joining us as much as we've enjoyed bringing the racing to you, and we hope to see you back on our channel soon. But until next time, race clean, race hard, and we'll see you on the track.